Hi everybody, welcome to Archimarathon. Today we're talking about portfolios.
As promised.
Who promised?
We promised ages ago.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, it's like, oh, it will come one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do an episode about CVs and folio.
Because that's a whole different field altogether.
Absolutely. I've actually looked at a few videos where we've made lots of promises. Oh, we're going to do this whole series on this thing and that thing. It's like, yeah, never happened.
Well, we've been busy with this space. This is Archimarathon STUDIO, where we are trying to bring back studio culture. Oh, by the way, if you're new here to the channel, we talk about architecture stuff and other fun bits and shenanigans.
Where the have you been?
I know.
New to the channel.
So click that subscribe button, notification, all that stuff. On that note, gonna roll intro?
I was going to roll you beer, but now it's open. Oh. Maybe a lovely rug. So there's plenty of places on the old YouTube to go and look for different ideas of how to make a portfolio.
Yeah, there are great channels. We've mentioned them before. Upstairs and Show It Better. They do an amazing job in the technical aspect and graphical aspect of portfolios. But I don't think many of them really talk about the big picture of what is the purpose of portfolio.
So stepping back and objectively taking a look at strategy.
Yes.
Of what you need from your portfolio, and depending on the situation that you find yourself in.
That's right. So we're going to go through different aspects. We've got ones that are for applying for university, into architecture school. We've got ones that are applying for masters, and the most important one, the ones you're applying for a job.
Oh, when you're in the interview.
Yes, or before that even.
Oh, okay.
Like, because there's no one size fit all. And that's the thing, there's no one size fit all.
As with so much of our feedback, it's another design task. It's using critical thinking and strategy. What are you trying to achieve? What is the outcome you're trying to achieve? And therefore, how do you design your portfolio to suit?
So what is a portfolio? Do you know where the word came from?
It is from the Latin word follum, but it's drinking lots of port in a follum. A follum is a type of vessel that you drink port out. It's not true, but he believed it. You saw that. He totally believed it.
Stay hydrated. Anything a good drink.
I don't know. What is a portfolio?
Well, it's portable, so it's moving, a receptacle for detached papers. Detached papers.
Oh, so that's a portfolio if I stick detached papers in them.
Yeah.
Detached is interesting, isn't it?
Detached
so it's
is interesting.
Pull them out, whichever is the most relevant.
Yes, because it's detached as well, because you need to update them all the time. It's not just a fixed one point thing. You want it detachable. You don't want this thing that's beautifully binded that you have to completely pull it apart. You should be able to update and slot and change.
Or you kind of grab it off whoever you're showing and say, wait, it's in here somewhere. Oh, it's that bit there.
Yeah.
That shows a lack of control of the conversation.
So that's a good way to think about folio to start with. I mean, yes, of course, you're not going to have a loose set of papers going to throw everywhere, but the idea that you can access them easily is, and to change them is important.
Again, strategically thinking about what you've got and what you take. So the portfolio is taking the best tools for the job.
And you may have a set of different things for different purposes, for different jobs. You might actually end up stacking them in a different order or different thing for different purpose, because you've got different...
If you go to Austin Maynard Architects, which does mainly residential work, you're probably going to tailor your portfolio in a very different way to if you go to ARM, which is doing tons of commercial wacky work. You maybe don't want to show the same portfolio.
So the first one, a lot of students Google for folio because they want to get into architecture school, and they're going, oh, what do I need to put in there? I mean, it's a pretty daunting idea. Like, what do you put in a portfolio?
So you're putting in an application
Yeah.
to go to university to study architecture.
Yes.
And part of that is
Folio.
Okay.
So what does that mean? And a lot of students go, oh, they're desperately trying to draw up some plans and draw architecture stuff. It's like, you don't need to show your architecture skills.
Because you haven't got any.
you're going to school to teach you that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So the purpose of that, people are looking for your sensibility, your sense of aesthetics, your sense of communication, and what are your interests? Who are you? Like, what are you going to bring to this school environment as a collective of people of different interests? And what are you going to bring?
Remember, at the end of the day, architects are professional communicators. We, in general, don't build anything. We produce documents and we talk about buildings. We're professional communicators. So your portfolio is showing your willingness and your ability to communicate. That's what's more important than drawing plans.
Skipping forward, applying for masters. So you have done a undergraduate degree, you're trying to get into masters. There are people who have done other things and moving into masters, and so that probably applies to more the earlier version. You're trying to get into an architecture school. But if you've already gone to architecture school and you're moving into a master course, the folio often means they just want to see your ability in more than just the products, not just your best work, but also the thinking behind the best work. So it's not just the pretty renders and what have you.
You know what? I think you're going to hear that again. It's not just about getting into masters as well. Like anybody that is potentially going to employ you or let you into their institution wants to understand your thinking. Anybody can churn out a pretty render nowadays. Can you communicate quickly through drawing? Can you do a good diagram? Can you communicate clearly and effectively?
And so that led us to the most important one, getting a job. And that is in many parts because there are different stages. There are often sending an email off, and then there's your potential web version where people can see it, a digital version, and then there's the physical version where you take with you for a physical interview. So there's the interview episode that we have done that is getting a lot of traction. So this is the follow-up.
So the email is interesting because that is survival of the fittest. There's just so many email applications that come in. And there's a few ways you can approach it. You can try to go for the whole inundate people with a huge amount of information. I tend to think that's the wrong way. Basically, you see so many of them that you just hit delete. You just got to get rid of them because it's just filling up your inbox. Most people go for this professional look. It's text a lot of the time. And they're long text. Think about, we're professional communicators. Think about it as though it's like, here's a dirty word, marketing. When you get something good that comes in as spam, what's the ones that are most effective? They're usually very concise, they're to the point. And it could be as simple as something like, click here for more information.
But the thing is, you don't want to rely on people to click for more.
No.
So if it is more than one page, right? If it's a PDF or whatever, if it's too big, you just delete. If it's a single page, then that means it will pop up in the email. And you just flick and you go, oh, it's there.
It's right there. You don't have to scroll, you don't have to click. That is where you should spend a lot of time creating the most simple, eye-catching information. So if they go to the trouble of clicking on your email, boom, it just goes there and it's like, holy moly, this person is interesting.
And click for more.
But if you're relying on thank you so much for reading my email, polite, professional, and all of that, and it's black text on a white background, you just, that's fine, that could show competence, but you're just going into a huge bucket full of other people that look exactly the same.
So you want to demonstrate about you, but you do want to stand out. It is a little bit of a Tinder profile thing, swipe, what grabs.
But we're professional communicators. So if you can, in that instance, illustrate that you can communicate that you are unique and that you are delivering concise information, you've half done the job. Because it's like, oh, this person has got my attention and is communicating with me very clearly. It's exactly the same skill set you want to have when you go and try to pitch a design to a client. You want to get them very quickly engaged with the first thing they see. It's the same skill set.
And so if upstairs and show it better, haven't done a video on that, they should.
Nudge,
Yes.
nudge.
You've got the attention of the person. They've clicked on a link and go to your digital folio.
Big debate here.
Big
do you
debate
have
here.
do you have a PDF and or a link to a web page?
And a web page, there are services out there like Isu and other things that you can put on an online folio. The problem with some of those is that it is linear. You got to load up a page and it's trying to be a virtual book, and you're going to have to click and click and click and browse forward. So it is a linear process. The beauty of the internet is, and the web pages, is that you have hyperlinks. You can link to different things as you choose. So it's a bit like this loose paper idea that you can access them very quickly without having to go on to one page to the next page to the next page.
It also means that if you are very strategic, so you have, it goes back to the residential architect versus commercial architect, you have potential to simply create another page that has all of your, I want you to have a look at these 6 main projects, and then there's another button that says more, where that could go somewhere else. But I've said it for years, for 20 years, don't have this flashy, elaborate front page. Your first page should have all of your projects on it. Like the first thing people see is like, there's a whole heap of buildings, and you let them do their choose your own adventure. I'm going to head that way or head that way. So control the email information, but then set people free to explore. And you can do that in a PDF. A PDF is linear as well, but of course, if you click on it and open it, you can go wherever you want, and then you flick through it.
So don't think the digital version is the same as your physical version. Different thing again.
Yeah.
Moving on to the physical folio, and we talked about that in that episode in job interview. It is a prop. It is part of a way to control the crowd in some ways. It is a way to get people engaged. A lot of times they're just flicking through. They're not really going through them. They probably have seen it before. They would have seen the digital version, right? So you, in a sense, can bring in a physical one that is different. It's got more things. It's got different things. It's tactile. It's got something that people can touch and feel, and it's beautifully constructed. There's something quite tangible about it, more than just the digital images that we all get.
The truth is, nowadays, that you're probably in there because of the basis of the PDF or web page you've linked to. It is actually quite frustrating when you're in an interview with somebody and they're repeating information that you've already looked at previously. So I just want to show you my best project. It's like, I know that's your best project because it was at the start of your PDF, and yeah, it was great and all that. I actually want to talk about other things. I want to talk about, what are you like? What was your last employment like, and how did you go there? So you sort of go off the track a little bit there. But as we've talked about in the past as well, there will also be potentially somebody there that just wants to play with something.
Yeah, and potentially have different aspects and have different volumes, different things. Like one's about sketches, one's sort of documentation. So again, they can pick and choose and just flick through and go, oh yeah, here's the...
That's the key, is you need a diversity of work in there. You've said it time and time again, don't fill it up with 400 renders. A pretty render, great. Give me 1 or 2, like anybody can press render. What is your strategic way of thinking? So can you diagram out very complex ideas in very simple ways where I can look at that and go, this person is going to be able to communicate very clearly to a client.
Can you do hand sketches very quickly, which is an important skill, and it's a sought after skill because graduates are taking too long to communicate something.
Go to a building site and you will see on all the stud work, on all the plasterboard, there are drawings because the architect and the builder are all sitting there working out, oh, what do I do here? And you're drawing on the building. It's actually beautiful. Somebody should make a book. Or, you've got a sketchbook and you're going, well, what about this? What about that? Like anybody that says drawing is dead is not actually building buildings. Like if you're out on site, you need to be able to draw quickly and effectively to communicate ideas to the people that have got the tools in their hands.
And the other thing as well, if you just show renders, unless you're going for a rendering job, you end up being a render monkey or a cat
Yeah,
monkey.
be careful of that. You'll get the job from the content you show. So if you only show renders, that's a really good point. You'll be stuck on a computer doing renders. If you show beautiful hand drawings or diagrams, you might get pushed up to the front end, because that's actually what you need. If you want a design job,
It shows your thinking.
yep, you would need critical thinkers, clear communicators that communicate quickly. And that's not done through rendering. They take ages. That's done through drawing.
I'm going to grab this for a second. That is iterations. Hello. Yeah, that is drawing. It's just showing the thinking and iterations. All right. I just completely ruined that shot, didn't I?
Which is cool, because Sean's come in today with all of this thinking that he's been doing, and then he's been able to sit down with Kev and sort of distill that down into a series of diagrams to try and explain that explosion of thought. You know what design's like. You've got to just explode, and just, you've got all this stuff, and then you've got to go through that to work out what the value is. It's most easily done through drawing.
Oh, one more point. Your social is so important.
Yeah.
So I'm talking Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, mainly Instagram, right? Because it's quite visual. Your employers will most likely have a look at it.
Diversity. So many people just do the one thing over and over and over on their Instagram, and you know, we're all the same. The thing that you're good at is the thing that you keep doing. It's so refreshing when you go to somebody's Instagram and they've just got a variety. Like, here's a beautiful photograph of a building, here's a photograph of a detail, here's a sketch of a detail, here's, you know, a little model that I made, here's my dog. Actually diversity, but when you see the same thing churned out over and over, it's just like, you're boring me to death.
Yeah, because also the fact that you're employing a person.
Yep.
Not a machine, not just a work machine. And that's in the episode. We talked about, yes, you look for a person, not just someone who can do the work.
Somebody that you're happy to spend 9 to 5 with.
As a team player.
Do you have like a kick-ass portfolio? Could you put a link down? We'd love to have a look at it. Do you agree with some of the tactics that we've discussed? Do you have better tactics? Please leave a comment, because we're always learning. We sound like we know what we're talking about, but we love learning new things. And we love seeing kick-ass portfolios. Might give you a job. Welcome to the 3rd teaser trailer for Deadpool 3, as announced.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
It's very kind of everybody to have those comments. Very kind.